Sunday, May 29th. Wrestling with God. Gone from Laban, Jacob soon has another experience with God, knowing that his brother Esau is coming with 400 men, Genesis 32:6. Jacob prays fervently to the Lord, even though he acknowledges that I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which you have shown your servant, Genesis 32:10. Jacob truly has a better understanding of what grace was about. And how does the Lord respond? Genesis 32:22-31 says, But during the night Jacob got up and sent his 2 wives, 2 concubines, and 11 sons across the Jabbok River. After they were on the other side, he sent over all his possessions. This left Jacob all alone in the camp, and a man came and wrestled with him until dawn. When the man saw that he couldn't win the match, he struck Jacob's hip and knocked it out of joint at the socket. Then the man said, Let me go, for it is dawn. But Jacob panted, I will not let you go unless you bless me. What is your name? The man asked. He replied, Jacob. Your name will no longer be Jacob, the man told him. It is now Israel, because you have struggled with both God and men and have won. What is your name? Jacob asked him. Why do you ask? The man replied. Then he blessed Jacob there. Jacob named the place Peniel, face of God, for he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been spared. The sun rose as he left Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. That is why even today, the people of Israel don't eat meat from near the hip in memory of what happened that night. Also read Hosea 12:3-4. What is the spiritual significance of this amazing story? Jacob is distressed, understandably so, by what is happening, and after doing what he can to protect his family, he camps for the night. He is then suddenly attacked by a man, Genesis 32:24. And this is a term that can have special connotations, evoking the divine presence. See Isaiah 53:3. Daniel used it to refer to the heavenly priest Michael, Daniel 10:5. It also was the word used by Joshua to depict the commander of the Lord's army, who was the Lord Yahweh himself, Joshua 5:13-15. Indeed, amid the fighting, it must have become obvious to Jacob that he was struggling with God himself, as his words, I will not let you go unless you bless me, Genesis 32:26, revealed. Yet, his fervent clinging to God, his refusal to let go, also revealed his passionate desire for forgiveness and to be right with his Lord. From the book Patriarchs and Prophets, page 197-198, it says, The error that had led to Jacob's sin in obtaining the birthright by fraud was not clearly set before him. He had not trusted God's promises, but had sought by his own efforts to bring about that which God would have accomplished in his own time and way. And the evidence that he had been forgiven was the change of his name, from the reminder of his sin to one that commemorated his victory. Your name, said the angel, shall no longer be called Jacob, the supplanter, but Israel. For you have struggled with God and with men, and have prevailed. Genesis 32:28. What has been your experience as far as wrestling with God goes? What does it mean to do that? And why is it at times important that we have this kind of experience? From the book The Great Controversy, pages 616 and 617, it says, Jacob's night of anguish, when he wrestled in prayer for deliverance from the hand of Esau, Genesis 32:24-30, represents the experience of God's people in the time of trouble. Because of the deception practiced to secure his father's blessing intended for Esau, Jacob had fled for his life, alarmed by his brother's deadly threats. After remaining for many years in exile, he had set out, at God's command, to return with his wives and children, his flocks and herds, to his native country. On reaching the borders of the land, he was filled with terror by the tidings of Esau's approach, at the head of a band of warriors, doubtless bent upon revenge. Jacob's company, unarmed and defenseless, seemed about to fall helpless, victims of violence and slaughter. And to the burden of anxiety and fear was added the crushing weight of self-reproach, for it was his own sin that had brought this danger. His only hope was in the mercy of God. His only defense must be prayer. In the darkness and solitude, he continues praying and humbling himself before God. Suddenly, a hand is laid upon his shoulder. He thinks that an enemy is seeking his life, and with all the energy of despair, he wrestles with his assailant. As the day begins to break, the stranger puts forth his superhuman power. At his touch, the strong man seems paralyzed, and he falls, a helpless, weeping suppliant, upon the neck of his mysterious antagonist. Jacob knows now that it is the angel of the covenant with whom he has been in conflict. Though disabled and suffering the keenest pain, he does not relinquish his purpose. Long has he endured perplexity, remorse, and trouble for his sin. Now he must have the assurance that it is pardoned. The patriarch explains, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. What confidence, what firmness, and perseverance are here displayed. His was the assurance of one who confesses his weakness and unworthiness, yet trusts the mercy of a covenant-keeping God. He has fastened his trembling grasp upon the promises of God, and the heart of infinite love could not turn away the sinner's plea. As an evidence of his triumph and encouragement to others to imitate his example, his name was changed from one which was a reminder of his sin to one that commemorated his victory. And from the book Desire of Ages, page 568, it says, Jesus knows the circumstances of every soul. You may say, I am sinful, very sinful. You may be. But the worse you are, the more you need Jesus. He turns no weeping, contrite one away. He does not tell to any all that he might reveal, but he bids every trembling soul take courage. Freely will he pardon all who come to him for forgiveness and restoration. The souls that turn to him for refuge, Jesus lifts above the accusing and the strife of tongues. No man or evil angel can impeach these souls. Christ unites them to his own divine human nature. They stand beside the great sin-bearer in the light proceeding from the throne of God. God bless.